Today's guest makes use of a 360-degree view of business and decades of leading companies through ever-changing dynamics to enhance our ability to make people and processes more effective. Welcome to the show, Charlene. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Toby, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Mirror Talk. I really appreciate your presence right now. I'm so grateful, for the connection that we had before even pressing record for this conversation. Thank you. Yeah, I love the fact that we're talking about the energy and how it has been in the past, months or past days before now. That's awesome. Well, one thing that I would love to learn while preparing for this conversation is about your story of how you became a medical miracle. So I'd love to just you to share about the life lessons that you learned from this period of your life. If you like, also you can also share this story a little bit with us and what it taught you, how it changed your life.
Sure. So as background, I had an incredibly successful corporate career. I was the grand poobah. I was the one where the buck stopped. I was the big guy in companies from $30 million in revenue up to almost $1 billion in revenue. So I was the chick. And personally, I was also the number one breadwinner in our family. And I held those two things as pretty important in my life, just because that's the way it kind of worked. But this one day I woke up and my husband, he leaned over to me and he said, "Oh, honey, I'm so glad you're awake now. Good morning. Hey, listen, you're in the hospital. Now, don't worry, but you've had a stroke. But don't worry about that. I'm really happy that you're awake, and I'm going to go get the doctor and he'll come in." So I don't think any of us would ever like to be woken up that way. I don't think any of us would ever like to be told anything like that. And I am not a doctor. I don't play a doctor on TV. I get my doctoring stuff from Mr. Google and my own doctor. So I know nothing about what was going on at the time. And the one thing that just kept going over and over and over in my head was the word no. I was screaming inside my head saying, "No, this is not possible. My husband is not right." Well, he wasn't right. My husband had lied to me. What had happened was I caught a viral infection called streptococcal meningitis, and it basically starves the oxygen out of your brain and out of your spine. So I had 2 seizures, 2 strokes, and I had just woken up from a week in a coma. So I didn't find that out till much later, and it's really a good thing that my husband didn't say that, because all that was going through my mind was, I'm the main breadwinner. My husband depends on me. We have a lovely life. This can't be happening. Why would I ever get a stroke? Why would this happen? So what I want to share today is how I got through that using all the lessons that I learned as a business executive, and how the knowledge that we have in our bodies that we don't even think about can actually move us forward.
Yeah.
So how I came up with this was I was getting tired of the neurologist. You have to go visit a neurologist after you've had this kind of thing for the rest of your life. And after a couple of years, the neurologist was still telling me, "My God, woman, your odds of getting past this were like less than 50%. And you're at 150% of what you were, and you're a medical miracle and all this. And what did you do?" And I thought they were being polite. And so one day I sort of sat down and I wrote some stuff out, and I came up with 6 steps. And I looked at that and I said, okay, let's call that the 6 steps of a winning mindset, because that's what it was. And I thought it was pretty clever. I really did. I thought, oh, you're so original, Charlene. But then a couple of years later, I found out that I was not original, that what I had written down was how top performing athletes, how top performing musicians, how top performing artists, how top performing business people all think and act. So my little idea wasn't particularly original. There was people that were talking about it, but so all I can do is I can give you my take on it.
Yeah.
So there are 6 steps. And the first step is you want to decide whether you're going to go or you're not going to go.
Mm.
Any successful business person who has had to launch a product, start a new division, sell off a division, hire an employee, fire an employee, anything that requires making a decision has at one time or another had to sit down and say, am I going to do it or am I not going to do it?
Yeah.
And if you're going to do it, it's always 150% in. There are no halfway measures. So if you're going to get married, you're in. If you're going to have a baby, you're in. If you're going to start a business, you're in. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. And either way is fine. It doesn't matter. But the first step on anything always starts with us. What do I want to do? And am I prepared to go forward? And when I say, are you prepared to go forward? The point is, anytime we start absolutely anything, we have no idea what the road looks like. We have no idea what the curves and the hills and the bumps are going to be. We just know in our heart of hearts, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
And then we say, we're in it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. Yeah, that's true. So we are all in. We just go 100% without looking back and just start it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It bothers me. I'll be honest, when I see a lot of business people or startup entrepreneurs or even the young kids who say, "Well, I'm going to get a job, but I'm also going to have a business on the side." So you're splitting your attention immediately. You're either all in or you're not. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Any athlete that you meet, well, I'm going to run the whatever mile in the 2 seconds that I think I can do it. You're either all in or you're not. They're not off doing basketball and swimming and also running. They're concentrating fully on what they've set their goal to be. So I applaud anyone who can do a million different things at once, but only one thing is going to come out of all that.
Well, in this day and age, we do have a lot of people that venture into different things. Like myself, like as I told you earlier, like as a career, as I'm an engineer and I do this podcasting also and some other little side things I do, by the way. So would you say I'm not being able to put my 100% into all of these areas of my life, or how would you advise me on this?
You cannot put, none of us can put 100% of ourselves in anything. Before COVID, there was something called work-life balance. Now I say no, it's life-work balance. Switch it. So you can be all in for yourself, and that's fine. But when you make a commitment to start a business, when you make a commitment to go and change your career, when you make a commitment to fire someone or launch a new product line or get married, those are big life decisions that we make. There's no halfway measure. There is absolutely no halfway measure. And what life becomes is a balancing act between how much can I give here? Oh, I still have to give over here. And one of the things I've noticed, there are periods in our lives where we have to be fully focused 1,000% on one thing because we've got to get it over a hump. Now that could be, maybe there's a young lady that you want to woo and get married to. So you're going to spend a lot of your time going to find that young lady. But once you get that young lady, now you're free to go do something else. Or if someone's in a new career change, they're going to spend all their time looking for that next leap. Once they make that leap, then they're free to ease back on that. So it's a constant. Our entire lives are a constant pull. Mothers are a perfect example. You got 9 months, you're pregnant, and then you got 18 years, and you're raising a kid. But once that kid essentially gets out of the house, now you've got all this time to go off and do what you want. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Mm.
I'm saying choose one and be focused on the one and spend less time on the others. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, understand. Yeah. Yeah.
If you want something to be a success, and usually that's ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
you got to give enough energy to that thing. And it starts with, okay, am I going to do it or I'm not going to do it? And either decision is right. There's no wrong in any of this. You just have to make that decision.
Mm.
So after you've made that decision, then the next step is what I call pulling in your energy, because you're going off on an adventure and you really need your energy levels to be as high as they can be. I'm not talking about eating properly, exercising. That's not what I mean. What I'm talking about is your internal energy, making sure that you've got enough fortitude to push forward. And there's a very old-fashioned thing that I discovered a long time ago that allows us to grab our energy and multiply it several times over. And that's the very simple habit of looking around in our lives and being grateful for what we have. It can be as absolutely simple as my client actually paid the bill on time. It can be as simple as my husband or wife brought me coffee this morning. It can be as simple as my new puppy has kissed my face and made me feel like $1,000,000. It can be as simple as my car, which I really don't know how it's kept on going for 15 years, just gave me another week of no problems, fingers crossed. It's not a case of saying all the time, I'm grateful for this and I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for something else. It's often a case of looking at other people and realizing that even though you think you've got it bad, others have it way worse. So you're actually better off. And the best example that I can give right now, that's going on right now, is how many of us are so grateful we do not live anywhere near the Ukraine or Russia. We can all feel bad. We can all feel compassion. We can all be angry. But the bottom line is we're not living in that area. So therefore, we can walk in the grocery stores and know that there's food on the cupboards. We can walk down the street and not worry about bombs blowing up. We can go into hospitals for visits and not worry about our lives. And I'm sorry, that means a lot to me. I'm living a pretty good life. Other people have it way worse. We can all donate to them. We can all do whatever we can, but at the end of the day, we're a lot better off. So let's be grateful for that, because by being grateful gives us energy, and we say, you know what, I can move forward because they've already demonstrated what they're doing in their circumstances. I can do it a lot better myself because I got better circumstances to live in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So we have empathy for them, but we are also being grateful that we are not in that situation. Like we are being, yeah, happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'll give you a really quick example. When I was in the hospital, I was in the ward and I was listening. I think it was my second day. I woke up and I was listening to the people in the hallways, in the other rooms. And I realized immediately there were a whole pile of people that couldn't talk. There were a whole pile of people that couldn't get to the bathrooms by themselves. There were a lot of people who had real problems and they were having nightmares or some kind of issues, they were screaming at the top of their lungs. There were other people that their tongues seemed to be glued to the tops of their mouths, and what was coming out was gibberish. Now, I could go to the bathroom myself. I could stand up and get dressed by myself. I could not string logical sentences together particularly well, but I had so much more going on. So I decided I'm going to take my cheerfulness and I'm going to bring sunlight into their worlds. And so I went around and I visited all the people up and down the hallways. Some I would tell a joke to, others I would just give them a big smile, others it was just hold their hand for 2 seconds. Was I the best? No. Where did I get this crazy idea? I don't know. I'm just a naturally happy person most days. And I realized intuitively, because I don't think I thought this intellectually, but intuitively I realized if I can make them happy, I'll feel better. And I know from business, if I can help other people get to their goals, I get to mine faster.
Yeah.
And life is so much better.
That's true. Is that what we refer to as people before profit also? Like, is that what it
Yes,
means?
that's what it means. It's people before profit. I'm not anti-profit. Profit's good. We all have to make money. We all have to pay bills. We all have families. But I am against the unfortunate culture of greed and power that has basically almost destroyed the world that we have known.
Yeah.
And in my own little way, when I was in business, I said, no, it's people first, profit second. Because if you can satisfy the people and help them get what they want, you're going to be absolutely amazed by how much money you actually bring in.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that. Yes.
Yeah. I think sometimes we have this misunderstanding because, we are trying to run a business and we're trying to make it profitable. And then sometimes when we think about putting people first before the business, we tend to think about, we might not be able to make that profit that we are, trying to achieve. We're not going to make that business run because we are trying to put people before the main goal or the secondary goal of making the business a very profitable and successful one.
You're absolutely right, Toby. And one thing that I had going for me was before I struck out on my own, I had 25 years of working for someone else. And that's the biggest difference. Being an entrepreneur, you're responsible for bringing in your own salary, your people's salary, and you're also responsible for worrying about all the problems in the business. When you work for someone else, you don't have to worry as much about the money because you're getting a salary or getting wages or you're getting money, and that takes care of a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So when I say I was lucky, the biggest thing that I got was how to run stuff and not worry about money. Yes, I had to keep things to budget. Yes, I had goals. Yes, I had deliverables all the way through, but my own personal ask was not on the line to make everything a success. That's what a big corporation or working for someone else does. It's not your personal kahunas that are on the line. It's somebody else's. And that gives you freedom to learn some of the techniques and the ways that work better than others. And that's why I feel so sorry for many of the entrepreneurs today. They want to make a difference. But they've never had the chance to see good stuff in action. They've never had the chance to learn themselves. So they're learning as they go. They're flying by the seat of their pants, not only to build this business, but also, oh my God, I got to pay myself. Oh my God, I got to worry about money. Oh my God, well, I'm not going to do this. And that's That's one of the things that I do is as I try and show people, okay, there is a way to do this. But I would be in the same boat if I hadn't had 25 years of being protected in a company, having my salary covered.
Mm. Yeah.
It's not an easy life being an entrepreneur. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the hardest jobs that anyone could ever want to take on. Either be a business owner, be an entrepreneur, be your own founder, be your own president, whatever you want to call it. When you strike out on your own, it is the toughest and it is the loneliest.
But sometimes, yeah, I think it's absolutely right what you said right now. Like, I really appreciate the fact that you talked about, you using your 25 years experience as, as an employee, to, build up your own life as a business advisor and also as a self-employed person and an entrepreneur of your own. Because I've always been learning this thing in my, my journey so far, that it's always very important to, make use of experiences in life. Like, we have life lessons and we have also experiences from people, because our experiences, determine who we are and how we could, deal with the situation that is currently on ground now. Like, we're a product of our life lessons, product of other people's experiences, and our own personal experience too. So you mentioning this about, you using that 25 years of, working for someone else and earning salary from them also helped you to become the person who you are, as an entrepreneur too.
And you know what? You have just explained exactly my third step. The third step in a winning mindset is to be very clear. Clear about what you bring to the table. So here's the thing. We've all been told, taught, brainwashed into thinking we all have weaknesses and we got to fix those weaknesses because we're just not good enough. And this is told in school, this is told often by our parents, this is told in university, and this is often taught by our bosses. And we have little bugs in our head that go, well, you didn't do that very good, whack, 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 right?
Yes.
But what you just said is what we don't spend time doing. And I'm not suggesting you do this every day. This is not something you need to do every day. It's for when you're going to make that leap, when you're going to make that, okay, this is what I'm doing. You look at the personal inventory that you bring to the table, because that's what you have to work with. So in the hospital, I knew I had a brain. It wasn't working, but I knew that brain had never let me down before. So I said, that brain is going to keep me going. I couldn't walk particularly well, but I knew that the walls needed help because the walls kept crashing down, right? So I thought, okay, I'm really good. I can hold the walls up as I walk. So that's good. I'm joking there, of course, but
yes,
but I knew, okay, the body was a little wobbly, but we could do something with it. I also knew, as a business person, the number one way to be successful is to do something consistently every single day. So you bring that. I brought that to the table. Not everybody knows that, but that's okay. That's what I brought to the table. And for me, I knew that I needed a big target. I work better if you give me big goals because I think big. So you'll never catch me going on about, well, I made $10,000 and blah, blah, blah. Hell no. I'll be going, oh my God, you're not going to leave this. Look at this big number.
Yeah.
So I knew I could set goals that were big. So I just made them bigger. If you found your perfect spouse to be, you realize, okay, I can be very affectionate in these areas and I'm not so good in these areas, but I am good at this. Or I'm the most amazing person who can keep up at least half to 3/4 of the jobs around the house. Or I have a good job. I'm going to be able to keep a roof over their heads or part of the roof over my head. Or I love kids, so I'm going to be a happy father or a mother. You take stock of what you've got. What are your strengths? You're honest. You're reliable. Family first or family second, it doesn't really matter. But what you're doing is you're saying, I bring all this to the table. And at whatever age you are, you're not just that age. You're the accumulation of all the ages and all the experiences and all the wisdoms that have got you to this stage. So instead of focusing on what you don't have, the initial go round is, what do you have? And sometimes this is a hard thing for us. Like sometimes we actually, here's a good exercise. Ask someone in your life today, why do you love me? What do you think that I have that is so cool? What about me attracts you? And I'm not talking in any kind of a love relationship. We're all attracted to certain types. So what is it? Is it my love of music? Is it my sense of humor? Is it my quirky take on the world? We all have these things that we take for granted because it's been in our DNA for years and years. And we don't think it's so special because it's been part of us. Our eyes get really opened up when we talk to a stranger or to someone that we know well, and you say, tell me in 25 words or less why I'm so cool. What have I got going for me? I really wish more of us would do this kind of an exercise, because typically we only hear this once when we're laid out in a coffin. That's when people talk about how great we are. But wouldn't it have been nicer had they said that when we were alive?
Better.
So what I'm saying is the third step, if you have problems figuring out who you are or differentiating the different techniques and traits and skills and talents that you have, just ask someone who knows you, and they will tell you and write it down. And pull that out every few years, every decade, whatever, because it also is a great way of building our energy.
Yeah, that's true. So we need clarity also to build that winning mindset.
Yes. So I'll just recap the first 3 steps. Make that decision. Fill yourself with energy. Typically, I call that gratitude. And be very clear about what you bring to the table right now. The next step, the 4th step is what I call, okay, now I have to get strategic. What is it that I can do? So we've already made the decision. We're going to get married, build a business, get healthy, all that. Well, what is it that I can do today and do for the next little while? So now you really want to get clever about, okay, you dip back into your body of wisdom and you say, well, I don't happen to have these particular skills to sell my business, so I can go buy them. Now that becomes 10 different things of what it is that we can do in order to sell the business. Or, my department's a little bit light on the marketing side to launch this product. Now I know if I take myself out of this particular arena and move myself into here for 3 days, I can bring us up to speed. That's my strategy. I will pull myself out. I will bring it here. Or, I'm going to ask that woman to marry me or that guy to marry me. So what is it that I can do? Well, I can go look for rings. I can go do some research on what's the best way to ask a person to marry me. I can go investigate venues, like if they're open, like restaurants or sports arenas or park settings or whatever. So you're getting strategic about what it is that you can do. And sometimes it means, many times it means you've got to go outside yourself. You've got to bring in help or get ideas or even sometimes pay money. But if you really want it, it's what you got to do.
That's true. Yeah. So we need help a lot of times.
We do need help. You know,
We can't do it all of ourselves.
we can't. And I am like just the worst. I'm just as bad. I can make all this sound super easy that I went through this stuff, right?
Mm,
And I can gloss over all of the awful days. But
mm,
I will tell you, I had days where I thought, oh, I don't need this. I don't want this. This is awful. Why me? Why me? My way. And
yeah.
I had my pity parties. And I'll be honest,
Mm,
when I get mad, and I was mad at this whole thing because that's a normal reaction as well. But when
of
I get
course.
mad, you would think that I was a sailor.
Mm.
I have incredibly salty language, and I don't care who gets in the way. But this is all normal behavior. And I really want to stress, listen,
Mm,
I went through this myself.
mm,
Everyone goes through this. We're not taught this.
mm.
And sometimes when you hear it from someone else, you realize, oh my God, that person said that, and that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And it's just a case of I'm normal
Mm,
because this is normal. And in fact, I say there's 4 times in our lives that we're all going to go through this.
mm,
We're all going to go through what I call when life throws lemons at us.
mm.
Um, you either have a horrible illness, which is what I had. You lose
Yeah.
your job. You lose
Mm,
your job.
mm,
You lose your spouse,
mm,
or you lose someone to death.
mm,
Those are the 4 worst things that can happen to a human being.
mm,
And they're going to happen. One of them, at least, is going to happen to every single one of us at least once in our lifetime. And the
yeah.
odds of at least having 2 of those, maybe 3 of those things, is exponentially grown as we get older. So if you're 20, you
Mm,
probably haven't had very much of this. If you're 40 or 50, you've
mm,
had at least one.
mm,
And if you're 60 and older, you've had a couple of them.
mm,
And it's a case of how resilient are you? How strong are you internally to push forward?
mm,
So the fifth level of what I call the winning mindset is the focus piece.
mm,
It's where faith and confidence comes in. It's the piece of what will I do? You believe in yourself, and some days there's going to be periods where you say, oh my God, how did I possibly ever think I could do this?
mm,
um, and you lose faith and you lose confidence. But imagine that runner who gets up every morning at 5:30 and goes around the track all alone, all alone. It could be raining, it could be snowing, it could be blistering hot, but every single day that runner goes out there, and that's how the runner gets better and better, because he says or she says to themselves, I believe in me. I believe as long as I keep on doing this, this is going to work for me. And having faith and confidence is probably the worst, the absolute worst, because this is where the gremlins inside of our brains will tell us you're not good enough.
mm,
You are a loser. It's never going to happen. And this is the place where so many people give up. They give up before they even start. So
mm,
you really need to collect
mm,
as much faith and confidence in yourself as you possibly can, and you need to hold it tightly,
mm,
because that is what's going to propel you forward.
mm,
The make a decision, the finding gratitude or energy, the
yeah.
place of being clear,
Mm,
the finding of the strategy and outlining the strategy, those are the easy pieces. But
mm,
having the faith and confidence to stick through to the end,
mm,
that's where the fools fall by the wayside.
mm. Yeah. I think like some ways we could, equip ourselves to be able to stick through the end. I like some methods, some strategies that we can make use of, to be consistent on our journey and stick it through to the end of it.
Well, remember, I started this conversation with, I had a vision of no in my head, and
Yeah.
I wasn't a doctor. And I
Mm,
said, this can't be happening to me, and
mm,
I will not be disabled.
mm,
That vision, that jagged picture that I had of, no, it's not happening to me, and I'm going to get through this. That's the vision that I kept through the whole thing. And it sounds silly to have a picture in your mind's eye, but that's the piece that carries you forward.
mm,
That's how you believe in yourself. You cement a picture up here in your brain. That's what I'm going to become. That's what I'm striving for. So a business person is going to have either a vision of their corner office that they're going after if someone's in a career, or the incredible accolades and thrill and passion that they get from making a significant impact in the world. They'll hold those pictures in their heads. They may not think they're doing that. It's all intuitive. It's the way the body reacts, but it's the best way I know of keeping you focused, keeping you having faith and confidence. And then, yes, every once in a while when we're down, we need to reach out to other people. Some people we don't pay for, because we don't need to. They're always there. Other people we do need help from, and professional help, it comes in all kinds of different packages.
yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of us asking for help.
Mm. That's good.
Absolutely not.
That's great. That's good. Wow. So, whenever in our journey of life, for example, are there like some people that we could or we should ask for help? Like, do we need to get mentors or coaches or business advisors like yourself, or could we just ask anybody for help?
Well, okay, I'll give you so no, you don't want to ask anybody.
Mm,
Hopefully you find you're asking the right people, and that means, for me, the ones who have either been where you want to go,
yeah.
or have been through the garbage that you think you're feeling,
Mm,
or that just resonate with you. You meet someone and you go, wow, that's exactly what I want to do. That person gets me completely. And so then you have a call. I'll be honest. I knew that I needed a personal coach.
mm,
I've known my entire life there would come a point in time where I wanted my own personal coach, but I'm kind of picky and I have a big ego. Yeah, I do. So I wasn't sure what I needed. I
mm,
just knew I would see it when it hit me. It
yeah.
only took 10 years for it to hit me. And I will say I had to grow into that person that I was when the opportunity finally presented itself.
Mm,
Um, I was not smart enough to say, well, this is exactly what I need. I was smart enough not to waste any money, but I did waste time doing it. So there's a trade-off.
mm,
If you pull in coaches, some will work, some will not. If you let them go for a while, it's going to take you a little bit longer, but by
mm,
the time you meet the right one, you're in the right zone. There
yeah.
is no right or wrong answer to this. It's one of those, sorry, it depends kind of things.
Oh, so that we can know beforehand, like, okay, this is the right coach for me, and with this person, I'm going to get the goal and the aim I'm trying to achieve. It's not possible.
It is possible,
Oh,
and
okay.
there's actually I have a whole checklist uh, that you can actually ask, all the questions that you can ask,
Mm,
or at least get you started in asking the right questions, so that at the end of it you can say, yes, this works for me, or it doesn't work for me.
yeah. Oh, that's good. So
Yeah,
can you share the checklist with us? Is it possible to have this checklist?
yeah, sure, okay,
Yeah.
I'll pull it out, absolutely, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll
Thank you
make a
so
note of
much.
that.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'll just add this to the show note of this episode. So anyone who's interested could just maybe download the checklist and make use of it in future, if that's
Okay,
okay.
I will pull it out for you and send it to you.
Thank you
Now,
so much.
the sixth level The sixth level is the absolute most boring.
Mm.
There
Why?
is no other word that I can describe except this level is boring,
Mm,
because this level is all about taking action and doing it every single day, whether you feel like it or not. It's running around the track. It's constantly dealing with all the things that come pummeling at you when you're trying to move forward. It's staying with the, okay, this is what I said I was going to do, and now I'm going to do it. So let me give you an example. I said to all my therapists, I want you to give me 10 times the homework that you normally do. And they said, well, we don't give homework. I said, okay, you're going to give me homework and you're going to give me 10 times as much as you would normally do. So there were days, honestly, that doing 10 times the amount of homework just about killed me. I didn't feel like doing it. I didn't want to do it. Oh, you want me to do 10 more sit-ups on the physical therapy? I don't want to do that. You want me to do 5 more stories on this? I don't want to do this because it's boring. Because the key thing is you don't know when the end result is going to kick in. You know it will, but I go back to this faith and confidence issue. You must keep pushing yourself forward and keep doing the grind. And there's no other way that I can describe it, is doing the same thing every single day. One day, it all comes together. And we've seen that time and time again. When you see athletes, they run around the track, they drive their cars, whatever, they jump off diving boards, they do their swimming, whatever professional athlete you've ever seen. There is so much boring stuff that went in. They had to do that time and time again for years and years and years, but they got to the top. They got their gold, or they got their silver, or whatever it was. Every single business person that you have ever met who you're going at, oh my God, that was an overnight success. No, it took them 20 years to be that overnight success. And they did a lot of stuff that was just what I call grinding in the mud, just doing the same stuff day in and day out, whether they like to do it or not. But that's part of the secret. And we all have the strength and the stamina and the resilience buried deep inside of us to keep pushing forward. I mean, think about anybody you know who's lost their spouse, either through a divorce or through a death. The first little while, it's really awful, but they insist on plodding forward. And about 5 years later, they say, yeah, I still miss that person, but I'm a lot better off now than I was then.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. So this 6, like I said, when I came up with the six steps to the winning mindset, I thought I was really brilliant, but I wasn't. It's been done. It's been done a million times, but we've never really focused on bringing it into our own lives. We've only ever thought about it for athletes and the musicians and the people that we never will be, but we have the power inside of us to do it ourselves. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I love that. I love the fact that you're able to, I'm sorry, narrate these old steps, like explain them to us, and also use your personal experiences to, to make it relatable to everybody, basically, to make us know that, yes, it's not something new. It's not something out of the, out of the blues or out of, the universe, but it's something that we all have in us that we just have to dig out and make use of in order to become the best version of ourselves.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So people say to me, so Shar, what did you learn out of falling down and then getting back up again? And I say, I learned two things, two big things. Number one, the 4 inches between our ears is the absolute most valuable piece of real estate we can possibly own. I think everybody knows the standard computer thing of, well, garbage in, garbage out. Well, the same thing applies to our brain. Our brain cannot tell the difference between reality and fiction. So feed it what you want it to believe, and it will believe it. You feed it that you are a good person, you have got your stuff together, and you can do this, it will respond in kind. You feed it that you're a loser, you feed it that you're a quitter, you feed it that you can't do it, it will also respond in kind. So that's number one. And the second piece that I learned was everything in life Nothing in life, same thing. Nothing happens to us. Everything happens for us.
Mm. Mm.
Whatever you think is going on in your life that is so bad is not bad. It is happening for a reason. You may not know what that reason is, but you will figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
You may not see what it's doing to you right now, but you will figure it out.
Mm.
And what I can say is um, being hit with the bug was probably the absolute best thing that could have happened to me. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but
Mm.
it's probably the best thing that could have happened to me for so many reasons. And I don't think I'd ever want to change it.
Because it made who you are today. It made you the Charlie Norman that you are today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I mean, you have this a life that's full of, a lot of experiences, rich experiences, and you are in a much happier state than you could have ever been, probably. Yeah.
Much happier state. Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
That's great. That's awesome. And I would just love to dive back a little bit to when you talk about the 4 inches between our ears.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I would love to know how we could maximize the capacity or maximize the use of our brains. Do you have any tips on that?
Yes. Oh, that's a terrific question. So one of the things that I do, if I don't know something,
Mm.
I do a deep dive. So I had no idea how the brain worked. I had no idea um, how anything worked in our thinking patterns, in the way the brain is set up. Well, it turns out that the neurologists only know about 10% of the brain too. So what I did was I did a deep dive into just about every single possible topic pertaining to the brain, including self-hypnosis, neuro-linguistic programming, and just a bunch of stuff. So here's what I found. Anyone wants to do something cheap,
Mm-hmm.
cheap and cheerful, go onto Google and type in anything about maximizing your brain. Just type in maximizing your brain. There'll be a whole pile of stuff that comes out. You can watch a whole pile of Google YouTube videos and that. If you have $500 US to spare, the absolute best place to put that $500 is with an organization called mindvalley.com. I'm not an affiliate. They're not paying me to say this, but I found it incredibly helpful for a couple of reasons. Number one, for $500, it gives you a subscription for an entire year. You have access to all kinds of amazing programs to build the resilience in your brain, to think differently, to make yourself stronger as a business person, as a spousal unit, as a parent. It doesn't matter. They've got these incredible courses that are in modules that you can take over X amount of time. And what I did personally was I spent 30 minutes minimum every single day for an entire year and just paid attention to whatever material they had. If you spend 30 minutes a day on personal growth, call it whatever you want, but spend 30 minutes a day, inside of 3 months, you're going to start noticing that you're different. Inside of 6 months, other people are definitely going to be looking at you saying, well, where did that come from? And boy, are you ever different. Inside of a year, you will not recognize the person that you were. And that is the absolute best advice I can give anyone for expanding their brain cells, expanding their personal growth, nourishing their souls, nourishing their hearts, and becoming the best that you can be.
Yeah.
Mindvalley.com, $500 US, 1 year subscription, best investment you can make, bar none, because you're investing in yourself.
Wow, thanks so much for sharing that. I think with that also we're able to, break past our barriers, I believe, like, the limiting mindset that we have with
Yep.
this tool, we'll be able to break free from it and, expand our horizon also. Yeah.
Every last little bit of it, my dear, every last little bit.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. Thanks so much, Charlie, for everything you taught me in this episode. Like before we wrap it up, is there like some lessons that you love to share with the listeners? Maybe some last thoughts that you would love to pass across that we need to talk about to the listeners out there.
Um, we all have days, every single one of us have days where we just don't feel that we measure up. We don't think we've made particularly strong progress in something.
Mm,
We feel that we're a loser. We feel that we're less than. We feel that we've let ourselves down. So this is very, very normal. The best way that you can help yourself is to go to the bathroom and stand in front of the mirror.
mm,
Look at the person in the mirror
yeah.
and tell that person, you are enough. Now, those three words, I'm sure some listeners are going, oh my God, what is this woman talking about? But the truth is, if you go to the bathroom once a day for 30 days and look in the mirror and tell the person in the mirror, you are enough. I promise you, at the end of 30 days, you will 100%, 150% believe it, and you will not have nearly the amount of negative thoughts that you might have as of now.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Charlie, for everything you taught me this episode. I really appreciate you walking us through the 6 steps of winning mindset. I love that. That was so wonderful. Thank you for also sharing your life experience, with the medical miracle that you had. I really appreciate everything I was able to learn from this episode. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, my dear.
Yes. So I'm going to place your information in the show notes of this episode. Everyone who is interested could visit your website, your LinkedIn page, your Facebook group also, Facebook page also, and they could connect with you in that regards. Is there any other platform you prefer people to reach out to you on?
The best platform is LinkedIn. I play on there every day and I respond immediately to any requests or information. So yes, LinkedIn is my place to go.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much.
Hey there, podcast enthusiasts. Are you ready to add a little sparkle to your day? If you're loving the insightful conversations and captivating stories on Mirror Talk Podcast, here's a friendly nudge to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on the empowering messages and thought-provoking discussions we bring to your ears. But wait, there's more. We're all about spreading positivity and inspiration, and you can be a part of it too. How? By sharing the love with your friends and family. Share this episode with your loved ones, and let's create a ripple effect of empowerment and growth together. And hey, if you've been enjoying what you hear, why not take a moment to leave us a glowing 5-star review? Your feedback fuels our passion to keep delivering content that resonates with you. So hit that subscribe button, share the love, and leave us a review. Let's keep the conversation going and spread the Mirror Talk magic far and wide. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, your support means the world to us.